Hello and welcome to the Buckets and Tea NBA show. I'm your host, Cathryn Naiekr. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Joining me is hello and welcomes Jerome Cheng.
It's a new me.
It's a new you.
Yeah, I don't want to say glow up because I loved where you just came from, but it's just a new version of me. That's not right. We should not say that part. No, I'm actually really excited. As you know, we were just talking right before the recording. I'm heading to Vegas right now, and like one of the first things I'm gonna do is actually see the No Dunks guys tomorrow for their live show.
Oh, amazing!
If you are in Vegas tomorrow, I think it's at the MGM. Go follow No Dunks Inc. and find out the information. But I think 4 p.m. Pacific, MGM, level up, something free show. So it's worth it.
That's awesome. Are you a guest on the show? Like, are you helping them out?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm just gonna be there for pure vibes. Hopefully, cool. I'm gonna bring Alex and Will along. Those are my friends now at Hello and Welcome, and I mean they're interested in going too, and we're gonna try to make it. You know, it's like once you touch down in Summer League, you have plans here, but it's hard to execute them. So we'll see how they go.
I imagine that's many Vegas trips. Is this your first time at Summer League?
No, this is okay. So I did 2018 just like for fun. And then I think I've been going since 2022, I want to say.
Right.
Yeah. Like, because I've been going with The Athletic and No Dunks for the last couple of years. And now I'm going with Hello and Welcome.
Amazing. Are you gonna try it and meet Obama?
Is Obama still there?
I don't know.
That's the question.
I'm not in tune with his
you didn't get the new intel yet? You didn't get your briefing this morning?
No, only the prime minister's travel schedule. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it'd be cool to run into Obama, but mostly because I want to know which dap up he gives me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I want to know if I just get the pleasure to meet you or like.
I feel like you would get a dap up.
It's hard to say.
I would be shocked if you didn't.
The first step in problematic is assuming which dap up you're getting. So
wow, am I problematic now?
No. I think what you're saying is compliment to me, but I don't think I should assume for myself.
No. That's fair. This is just a guess on my part.
Yeah. Which is, it's a guess coming from love and kindness. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, it's also like you have like a general like cool swagger about you. So I feel like
I'll take it.
He would pick up on that immediately.
Okay.
This is where, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was, man, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, I mean, we're recording this Thursday. So by Friday, maybe more of you have seen it, that, Barack Obama was at the game last night.
Yeah.
And he's dapping up all the players and then he's like shaking hands with the white coaches. And it's it is like
it's
exactly it is the Key and Peele sketch. And it's so funny. And then also like Eric Spoelstra gets like sort of this like half dap up.
That's where I'm like,
because he's like a coach and therefore like on the nerdy side of things, but he's also
a Filipino god.
Exactly. So it's like he shifts a bit and he kind of does something with Steve Kerr, which is interesting. Like Steve Kerr kind of gets like a half dap sort of thing. I guess just because he's Steve Kerr.
He's also a member of the Chicago Bulls, which is
of course,
pay respect where it's due for Obama. Yeah.
So, so Steve Kerr got some sort of honorary. So speaking of the game last night, let's get into that. So US versus Canada. This was like a showcase exhibition game of sorts. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was part of I've looked at it after. It's the USA Basketball Showcase.
Yeah, that Canada just decided to participate in.
And we're a part of it. So it really
they have to play against somebody.
Yeah, it's USA centric, which I didn't like. Like we covered it for Hello and Welcome, and I just looked at it as like Team Canada gets a warm up against USA, not we're the first guest in their slaughtering line. Like
Yeah. And how much of like a true test the Canadian team is really.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I kind of looked at it last night was, Canada got off to a really good start, but then
I wanted to call the game after the first quarter. I just said, It's done.
It's done. It's over. We're out.
Everyone has the information that they need. You can go back to practice and regroup and get enough tape from that. Canada is clearly superior right now.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of like the Spanish team back in like the Gasol era, where like, you know, they were such a good team. They could keep up with the Americans, which was, you know, revolutionary. But ultimately Team USA is still Team USA. And that's kind of how I feel about Team Canada right now. Not that that's a knock on Team Canada at all, because what a huge accomplishment it is for us to be, you know, where we are right now. And I also think this exhibition game will be good for us because it will, you know, it'll show the team like what they need to work on and stuff like that. But I mean, I do think it was a pretty valiant effort. I think a couple things on the US side, Joel Embiid fouling out. We got to talk about that. So it's slightly misleading because it says he fouled out in 12 minutes, but that's 12 minutes of like his playing time, not 12 minutes into the game. So he fouled out like mid third quarter, which is still terrible.
It's terrible mid third quarter in a game with 10-minute quarters. Which, like, I don't even think it matters, like, what quarter it is in, because I think the 12 minutes of play does count. Like, how many is it for this? It was 5 total fouls that were allowed, or 4?
5.
5. So we're talking a foul per 1.8 minutes, I think is the math.
Yeah.
Or something.
Which is crazy. Including a really hard foul on Dwight Powell as well.
Yeah.
But you know, which Dwight Powell was like, just went up to him and was like, "Come on, man, what was that?
Yeah, what are you doing out here?" This is I mean, it's very Rocky 4 where Ivan Drago kills Apollo Creed. It's like, it's just an exhibition. Why are we doing this? But also, like, I think what I liked about it and was great for Canada-US relations in an era where it's Kendrick versus Drake, Joel Embiid united everyone in asking, why is he on this team?
That's true.
Yeah. Like, it is across the board. Like, obviously, Canada and Toronto Raptors fans have a very specific beef against Joel Embiid, and I think it's, like, rightful that way. But, like, even American
fans... He's generally unlikable.
Everyone was, like, he was doing the same NBA bullshit, the foul baiting, all the nonsense. It actually felt like anytime he was in the offense, it just, like, slowed everything down anyway. You started hearing people say, like, start Anthony Davis instead. Everyone was asking what's he doing out there, and nobody was wanting to watch it. So even with a loss, with a score that I refuse to remember, it was a win to see Joel Embiid foul out early and be hated on by everyone across the board.
Look, I think that's a really solid take. I agree. The one thing that like does kind of bug me about the Kendrick Drake thing is that like I feel like Drake has become this like de facto representative of Canada, and I don't think that's fair because
we only have an hour here, right? So
you know what I mean? It's like we're not all Drake fans.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway. I noticed they were playing Not Like Us like after the US team won, and I was like,
you got to do it.
You have to do it because this is the thing. Because I feel like there are so many Canadians who love that song.
Yeah,
and
you're talking to one of them.
Yeah, and it's like that can't become the anti-Canada song. Like, I'll be upset if that turns into an anti-Canada song.
Oh, Catherine, I'm sorry to tell you that it will be for at least this summer. If not beyond that.
I don't like it.
I mean,
look, I'm not cool. Like, I'm not an authority on any of it.
No, it's not about.
I don't like it.
It's we just have to collectively take that L, unfortunately. I mean, you saw Argentina do it when they beat Canada. They changed their graphic.
That's different.
Because of the bet?
Well, first of all, wait, they played Not Like Us?
No, like when they won.
Yeah.
So the quick story is Canada loses to Argentina in the Copa America semifinal. And before the match, it's noted that Drake bets on Canada. I think he bet like $300K, obviously loses it.
Oh my God.
Which is, we all know, is the ultimate curse. After that all happens, Argentina posts as their win graphic with the phrasing, I think on the graphic and in the caption, Not Like Us.
Wow.
So.
Well, he's asking for it.
Yeah, but then we have to we have to take the L on it.
He needs to stop. He needs to be stopped.
He's our messy friend that we have to answer for, unfortunately, because he just shows up.
No, I don't accept this.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We have to do a bonus pod on just this topic another time. But, actually earlier, speaking of this game, you're talking about, they should start Anthony Davis. I really agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I also think they should be starting Anthony Edwards over Devin Booker.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Anthony Edwards was definitely like the standout, understood the assignment and played his ass off. But I think that's also for so many of the other players, they tried so hard to build out the chemistry, and then it was just reverting into, well, we're just so supremely talented, we're gonna just win that way, at least this game. And that's what Anthony Edwards walked into the game with. I felt like he walked in with that energy. He was, I think for them it was Anthony Edwards. For us, it was Dillon Brooks, who was basically the de facto just here to win, do whatever is necessary. But ours is Dillon Brooks.
No, but I love Team Canada Dillon Brooks.
Oh yeah.
Is that this is just, unless things change, this is the hill I'm gonna die on. Team Canada Dillon Brooks is different than NBA Dillon Brooks in that he is now on my team.
Yes, he is. He is a classic basketball pest where you hate him if he plays against you, but you love him when he's on your team.
Yeah, and it's yes, he's a pest. Yes, he's annoying. But as of this moment, he's not problematic in any other way.
Right. Right. As of this recording. July 11th, it's a Thursday, 11:16 a.m. Eastern. As far as we know, he is not problematic.
And, I love the defensive tenacity in which he played with in this game.
We need it.
We absolutely need it. He was fierce. He was very Westbrook energy in that it was it was 100 or nothing kind of energy that he played with. Even when he was missing shots, he was overshooting them.
Right.
I feel and that was something I noticed where it was he was overshooting his shots, which means he was playing with so much energy and will and want.
Yes.
That he almost needs to dial it down a bit. And that's a better problem to have than the opposite.
I think it's good for leading the energy and example for the rest of the team, but it's bad when the rest of the team is not able to match it, which felt like a little bit last night, because you can't also live and die by Dillon Brooks being
absolutely not
your number one option.
Yeah, no, not even a number 3.
But yes, option. I agree to your first point about Anthony Edwards. Just once he got on, that was the thing.
That's when the game shifted.
That's when it shifted. And that's where it went from okay, we threw an early haymaker and Canada's up in the quarter, but even close to the end of that first quarter, you already saw, I think that was where Anthony already did that drive and reverse layup, and I'm just oh, here we go. It was just he's just deciding in this moment, we're not going to let them get away with this. And
he completely changed the momentum of the game. Also too, did you see his quote earlier in the week when he was basically
about the first option?
Yeah, he's the first option on this team. They should be revolving all of this around me. That's how I feel. And I'm just man, the conspiracy that he is Michael Jordan's son grows more and more by the day.
Right.
He embodies that so much. I feel he, even though he isn't Michael Jordan's son, I bet Michael Jordan wishes
he looks at Marcus and asks why couldn't you do this? Why can't you be this?
Yeah. Basically, but anyway, I do think they should start him. Those are my main thoughts about the game. I also think Steph Curry is the best player on that team. It just really feels that way.
It's very unfair that the greatest shooter of all time gets a shortened 3-point line and all the best passers in the world and requires not at all to be the first option. It's stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
Him and like he traded. I mean, they've said it in so many different ways. He traded Draymond Green for LeBron James.
Right. Yeah. Like, that's a good way to put it. It's like unreal.
Yeah.
All right. Let's other Team USA news. Kawhi Leonard was pulled out.
This is why you brought me on the show, isn't it?
Yeah.
You saw the news and you're just like, let me check in on Jerome.
You know what? I don't know if we've actually talked about Kawhi.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's my favorite player.
Like, he's your favorite player.
That's my favorite player of all time. It's gotten to the point where there's like a lot of recency bias in that he is like the most like current favorite player of mine. But probably for all time. Like I think my 90s player is Reggie Miller. And then since essentially like pretty early Spurs days, I've been a big fan of Kawhi, and it only like compounded once. You know, he won his finals MVP with the Spurs in 2014, and then of course winning the championship and being the reason why like we have a ring now. So
yeah, I mean,
that's my dude.
Reggie Miller is a good favorite because Reggie Miller always showed up. But
yeah, it's fair.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen all the memes where it's like, if I send you this, it means I'm not coming.
I posted one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. A photo of Kawhi. Yeah, I guess you did post one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, so how do you feel about Kawhi pulling out of?
I will forever be mad at Zaza Pachulia is what I feel about all of it.
Oh, wow.
No, I think this is just, it's really hard to say because, I mean, basically as early as the season before he came to the Raptors, we never have a clear look as to like the nature of his injury, what can he or can he not do, and then mix in his personality, which is very elusive. My favorite jokes to come out of this is like Kawhi finessed a free trip to Vegas and a couple of free meals, and I'm like, honestly, respect that. Like that just makes him more my goat.
I don't respect this at all.
I love it. No,
he's too rich to be finessing free meals in Vegas.
No, but that's who you respect the most. The people who have the money, who are still very careful about it. Shout out Frugality. Yeah. No, I think for Kawhi, I think we have to take it as it is. Like, I mean, looking at the state of the Clippers right now, he's literally all they have left. They can't afford, with everything that they've already lost, to then lose like now the last piece that is supposed to carry them into the Intuit Dome.
Right. I mean, my counter to this is that like this has always been true. Right?
Like in terms of like his health and everything?
Yeah. Like that part of it, not new. And then the other part that we've learned is not new is that they didn't really want to keep Paul George, and he knew that all season long. Right. And it was not a surprise when he left. Right. And so it's like they knew they were going to be in this position in July. So I just feel like from that perspective, I don't get it. But I also feel like there's like a bit of a logic bump for me when it comes to teams being like, oh no, this player can't play because we need him to be healthy.
I mean, Andrew Wiggins. Season.
Yeah, like Andrew Wiggins. Like, think about this. Oh, they need Andrew Wiggins to be healthy and
to trade him, not even to trade him.
Yeah. But it's like Steph Curry's health is a bigger deal than Andrew Wiggins as a trade asset.
Sure. Yes.
So where's the logic? You know what I mean? Other than like you can't tell Steph Curry what to do, but you can tell Andrew Wiggins what to do.
Yep.
It's all like the whole thing's a little ridiculous to me because it's like every one of these players that are playing in the Olympics is extremely valuable to their team.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like they're all valuable. Like SGA is valuable. Jamal Murray is valuable. Like they're all valuable. So I just feel like when some players get prioritized for health and others don't, it's just a bit of a head scratcher to me. I just feel like there's a general inconsistency around it. And I guess different teams have different philosophies around it, but it's like, I mean, if Andrew Wiggins can't play, I don't know why Steph Curry can. That's just, it just doesn't make sense to me.
The only thing to that part is like we haven't seen Andrew Wiggins play consistently for quite a bit of time, almost like since he got his big contract with the Warriors, which is kind of why
it's been 2 seasons, but it's been alleged that those are personal reasons, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we're kind of living in this place of like unknown and like a lot of allegations of like what it could be or could not be. So I think in part because of that, like it doesn't really like match exactly with a Steph situation. Whereas like Steph, like he's played consistently, he's been healthy as far as we know. They have no vested interest, at least in terms of like making an immediate or urgent deal for Steph that they seem to be doing with Andrew Wiggins. So I mean, all in all, I'm on your side of like it's ridiculous that they didn't let him play. But at the same time, like it's hard to necessarily like look at the two in the same way. Like same with Kawhi. Like with Kawhi, if he had played like a full consistent season and like went deep in the playoffs and like showed consistent health on that front, then I would 100% be like, why did he just like randomly back out? But it's almost like, and that's a sad story about him and how his career has been after 2019 is we all expect him to eventually break down. And that's what it feels like again. And whether it's like an active choice for safety or something that actually is going on there, you know, that's just the deal that you get with Kawhi Leonard now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said, and like the Kawhi thing, again, it's just another head scratcher for me. It's like investing in Kawhi and not investing in Paul George is sort of wild to me, considering his injury history. And like they both have injury histories, but in comparison, like Paul George has been able to show up more consistently. And I mean, and like, I don't know, with his whole history, it just makes it's really confusing. And then that, I don't even know why he even went to the Olympics in the first place, just to be a part. I think it was more to be a part of that photo. To be honest,
again, I'm like
more than it is about the trip to Vegas and the free meals. I think he wanted to just say he was a part of the team, and then and then it is what it is.
I mean, I think there is a level to that. I think it's different, of course, with his age, but like you'll see it too with some of the younger players. Like, they'll be at camp and then not necessarily be on the roster because like USA can afford to have such a deep roster anyway. And I think it does come down to sort of some of that decision making of like, are we gonna take a Kawhi Leonard who we don't know can play every game and can play even consistent minutes across the game, or are we going to take apparently a Derrick White to swap in and know that we have him throughout and can be reliable that way? So I think it's almost like a two-way consideration in knowing.
Yeah. Two things. I want to talk about Derrick White, and also I just realized I have the completely wrong background for this video. What is this generic yellow? I have a whole
there we are. We made it. No, what you did was like it was.
That is so ridiculous.
No, it's totally
how did
fine.
I do that?
I think what happened was I had asked if we can go an hour earlier, and you presented it symbolically, and that like up until the time that we were actually going to record, it was just a slow sunrise of this like golden background. And now we are finally at the full buckets and tea now.
Oh my God. Way to save it. Way to save it. It's such a pro. Such a pro. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So Derrick White replaces Kawhi Leonard on the team, which was when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. And then Jaylen Brown tweeted the emoji 3 times, and people are like, oh, they went with Derrick White over Jaylen Brown. And people are saying like, oh, like Derrick White is a better fit for the team, this, that, and the other. They're also so like, they're so insanely talented. I don't even know to what degree they need to be so strategic. I mean, like they have, like they also have like some of
the Finals MVP.
He is the current Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And they picked Derrick White over him.
Like, this is no different than being like, if you went into like NBA All-Star and it's like Celtics, you get 2 All-Stars only. And they're like, great. Tatum, obviously. Next, Derrick White.
Yeah. It's like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I could see why Jaylen Brown would be like, excuse me, what?
Mm-hmm.
And also a part of me as, a Celtics hater. This is a Celtics hater pod.
Of course.
Because it's a Raptors pod.
When the news came out, the first thing I said to my friend was, I forgot they won the championship.
I know. I didn't even end up seeing the last game.
I only ended up seeing it because I ran into my friends who were watching it in the street, and I was like, "Yeah, let's hang out."
Oh yeah, that's fair. I was, in fairness to me, I was on a flight, so that's why I missed it. But
wow, you actually flew away just to
I actually flew out of the country
dedication.
to a different coast because that's how painful it was. But yeah, I wonder, because as a Celtics hater, will this create tension?
No.
Next season, he won't care. He won't care.
No, because all that has nothing to do with his fellow teammates. Like, it's the same idea as like literally being in the finals and Jason Kidd saying that like one player is the best player on the team to like maybe indirectly create dissent amongst its top two. Historically with Team USA, it's always been leaning Nike like centric. Like Nike athletes tend to get a certain level of priority on being on teams. And so
Jaylen Brown's not a Nike athlete?
I think he's like a free agent. I think he's worn a bit of everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think there's like that element to it. And then of course, there is a level of maybe just overthinking and just wanting like another role player because it's for a team this good and this deep, it's almost like you don't need some of the like extraordinary things that Jaylen Brown does. And you almost need something that is like can reliably hit a three and play good defense, and that's Derrick White.
Yeah, like that's all true.
Yeah. It's silly for sure, but I think there is maybe something to be said about the Nike side of things. I think the players that superseded like in the Steph Curry and stuff like that are just like so ridiculously good that and like also like just where things have gone in terms of brands and associations.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't escape it. But like I think for a time, I think the Redeem team was entirely Nike, save for maybe I think Dwight Howard.
Oh, interesting.
Something to that effect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I'm actually surprised that him being a free agent, so to speak, isn't a bigger story because he is the reigning Finals MVP. Like he's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think the other thing too would I don't know the business of like where he is like shoe wise, so like that part he might. I just don't know who he's associated with.
Right.
I saw like a quick Twitter thing that showed him wearing various different shoes, so I'm like, I assume then he's not locked in with Nike.
Well, that makes sense.
But also I think like we have to remember like how we looked at Jaylen Brown. You and I talked about
it. He hasn't signed with a sneaker company for more than 3 years since his Adidas deal expired. So that's where we're at. Yeah.
But wow. Yeah, like even look at, because I think maybe the last time I was on was around All-Star. Like look at how we looked at Jaylen Brown at All-Star versus where he is now. Like even in the winning of the championship and like him being clearly the Finals MVP, I don't know that collectively he is like thought of as like the superstar, even though he clearly is.
They think about it. They have Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And Derrick White now.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
I think, but I don't think the snub affects like the chemistry amongst the team. I think the snub just changes how he looks at like USA basketball. That's it.
Right. Yeah. That makes logical sense.
Yeah.
But on an emotional level, I want it to be different.
Right. You want more tea, less buckets, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Wow. Well done. Okay, DeMar DeRozan is on the Kings now.
Mm-hmm.
I personally am just happy to see him on a team that is likely to make some sort of a playoff run. Yes. I think people are a bit I've heard mixed reviews on this signing where some people are saying he's not necessarily a good fit, or that like, yeah, this deal is fine, but it's not necessarily going to move the needle for them dramatically, or, you know, maybe they become a first round team instead of a play-in team sort of thing. How do you feel about the DeRozan signing with the Kings?
Yeah, I feel the same way you feel about, like, I'm just happy he's off the Bulls and has a chance to like play on a more competitive team. I don't know that DeMar DeRozan necessarily shifts the needle in as far as like deep playoff runs, because even at his like heights, he's never really been looked at. Like, I mean, why do you think we trade for Kawhi Leonard, right? It's tough because I think that's always been DeMar's reputation since he's like kind of achieved all-star status or superstardom, is that his skill set and play doesn't seem to match this current version of the NBA. I think if he was like playing more in the 90s or the early 2000s, like, I mean, he's obviously a bucket, but, you know, still doesn't shoot a three consistently well, like doesn't do a lot of things that like you would expect out of a guard in 2024. And so while he is supremely talented, like I love watching DeMar play, I couldn't definitively or like confidently say that like it yields deep playoff runs or like championship success.
Right. I mean, yeah. I agree with that. And I think also too, like the West is just so stacked.
Oh yeah.
That I think, you know, I've said this on this podcast many times, like the playoffs need to become the best 1 through 16. Like we need to get rid of the conferences. And like, I think if that happened, that would really benefit a team like the Sacramento Kings.
It also would make it difficult for a team like the Boston Celtics to win it all.
Absolutely. Right. Because they had one of the easiest runs to the finals ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like I want to see DeMar be in a competitive situation. He hasn't been out of the first round since he was with the Raptors.
Oh boy, yeah.
Right? Like he's been to the first round.
Yeah, because he got sent to like a tanking Spurs team, basically.
Yeah, well, they tried to not tank because it was him and like LaMarcus Aldridge, I believe, for that 1 year or so. But that was a first round team. The Chicago Bulls,
from the beautiful game to just like two like heavy mid-range guys. That's pretty amazing, actually.
I know. And I remember Popovich like trying to defend the mid-range game, being like, there's still value.
There is value in it. Yeah.
In the mid-range and blah, blah. Yeah, he's not wrong, but it's also like, it's just hard to compete, you know, 2 against 3 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know if this Kings team is going to get out of the first round. And that's really unfortunate. And, you know, I actually think that maybe, you know, the Kings are probably done for now going into training camp, but I would not be surprised if that team became active in terms of like role players going into the trade deadline next season, because I feel like them and probably a lot of teams are going to be trying to level up with different role players to, you know, inch forward in such a way with the new cap rules, etc. I feel like the Kings are going to be one of those teams where it's like, it won't be a big enough name to be like constantly in the news cycle, but I feel like they could be making smaller moves in the hopes that it will make a bigger difference.
Yeah. I mean, like we do forget that, you know, the beam season, like they looked like they would actually, challenge like teams within the Western Conference, but just came up against like a flamethrower Steph Curry and like the Warriors, but they pushed him to the limit in that series. And then I think last season,
and then Curry had 50.
Right, exactly. And then last season, I mean, they just got hampered also by like some key injuries that really like took them out of the mix too, right? Like I think for the Kings, I mean, across those 2 seasons, they benefited from being relatively healthy as a team and then got hurt by being unhealthy. So I think, you know, get them back healthy is a plus. I think DeMar added to the team at least might be able to help them in the regular season, that they can maybe have a better record, that they don't have to go into a play-in and just go straight into a first round. And that in itself might be helpful enough to put them in a position to like make a second round or further. But yeah, I mean, the Kings are a tough one because they had this meteoric rise and then they kind of hit a bit of a roadblock last season. But I think a lot of it's like injury hampered. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely hit a bit of a plateau, but
but I agree. Like, I think they're a team that like looks to tinker. They might snatch some people from the Raptors. Are you interested in a Bruce Brown by any chance?
I mean, maybe they are. Maybe they are. I don't know who we would want on their team for Bruce Brown, but
I don't know either. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of the Raptors, I mean, we can move on to our Raptors homer moment here.
Sure.
And so I want to talk about Gary Trent Jr. So, you know, I believe he has not yet signed with the team.
No, and then didn't Michael Grange report that they've essentially agreed to part ways, and now they're looking for, like, he's just looking for a deal elsewhere? Or maybe we'll get to a sign and trade situation, something to that effect?
Yeah, so negotiations with the Raptors and Gary Trent Jr. are just not happening anymore. Apparently, the Raptors offered him $15 million per season, but Gary Trent Jr. was hoping to have an increase, which I believe before he had $18 million. I'm not sorry. I was looking for the exact numbers, but I have too many tabs open per usual. I mean, I kind of thought that was interesting because I felt like Gary Trent Jr. did not have his best season last year.
No.
And I feel like it's a bit much to ask for a raise when you don't play your best basketball in a contract season. And I actually think this $15 million a year for what he brings to the team is like pretty fair.
That's pretty low though for this like current market for what other players are getting, like with his skill set and talent level. But I understand what you mean. Like, it kind of goes both ways where I totally agree. If you underperform in the season that you are supposed to play your best to earn a contract, that shouldn't yield a pay raise. But then when you see what other players are getting in this like kind of new market right now, then that seems like a pretty big underpay. So you kind of have cases both ways, I guess. That's
I suppose. I mean, I don't know if that like, I mean, you're not wrong. I just don't know.
It's tough when the performance isn't there. Underpaid, that's the thing. Yeah.
Especially considering, you know, like the new CBL or whatever.
The classic second apron.
CBA, and then the aprons, quote unquote, which I just don't know why they're called aprons. I find that very confusing. It's like, why aren't they just called tiers?
That's a good question.
Right? I mean, like one tier, second tier, I just feel like there's other words. But what do I know?
I haven't.
I'm no finance. I'm no finance bro.
Right.
I mean, I feel
you're not starting a venture capitalist podcast after this.
No.
All right.
Not in this floral summer dress, but I mean, look, like controversial take. I don't feel sad losing Gary Trent Jr. I don't feel sad about it.
Controversial. I think like we've kind of made peace with the idea that we probably will not move forward with him. Like, I think when he's at his best, like, we love Gary, but even with like the underperforming, I think I've always been concerned with his consistency. You never know what kind of Gary you're going to get. He's supposed to be one of our main shooters on the team, but like anytime he releases a three, I never feel the confidence that it's going in, especially if it's a wide open one. And I agree, and I think there was a point in not this past season, but the one before, where he was getting a lot of steals. Like, he was averaging a couple steals a game, and I felt like his defense was really improving, and I'm like, okay, this is good. Like, he's developing into a really solid like 3-and-D guy. And then I just feel like last season that progress didn't really continue, and his shooting did become more inconsistent, and it's like, okay, like, I don't really know where this is going. And so this is basically, he's at the age of where this should be his prime. It's like this is like about the time where he figures out who he is. And like, to your point, I think we all really wanted him to be that 3-and-D wing for us. And when he is, we're like, yeah, that he's a piece. But then so often he isn't.
Yeah, I agree. And so, yeah, I think it's okay to move on from him. I'm glad we're not overpaying him or even just fairly paying him, because I just don't feel like he's going to be a cornerstone in this new era, this new rebuild anyways. So
at this point, you might as well figure out what Grady Dick is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. Let's see if we can get his shot to be more consistent. Let's see if we can get him to improve on the defensive end. I mean, he did have a rough start to his rookie season, but also like maybe that was just our expectations as fans, right? Because he was like what, a 13th pick?
Something like, yeah, he was
something like that,
yeah,
like in the mid-teens. And you know, I think him spending time in the 905 was good.
I think we all were. I mean, it's really tough because I think by the time he was starting to figure it out, we became mostly an irrelevant team. But he really actually made strides in the season. Like
he did. He really
got
did.
stronger. He figured out his shot better. It's clear that there are like those tools there already. His IQ seems to be on point. Like
and his his quote unquote chemistry with Kelly Olynyk.
Right.
Like that was like, I mean, that was really encouraging because I think like, you know, such an experienced vet, you know, like in the Marc Gasol era, you know, really helped guys like Fred VanVleet and stuff like that. So yeah, I do think there's encouraging signs there, and I agree. Let's see what he has.
He seems like, I think if like where we're sitting right now, he has more upside than what Gary feels like. And is way cheaper.
Yes, as of this recording, as of Thursday, July 11th, 11:45 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
So you know, we lose another Raptor here, but again, I think it's
hopefully we get something out of it, like a couple pieces or whatever. But yes,
I agree. You know, it's all part of this new era.
One other thing, the future has started, or the future starts now. Is
the future? The future starts now.
That's right.
Yeah,
which is technically a phrase that is true all the time.
Yep.
Like the future started now.
Well,
and then it started now, and then it just started again.
You worked for MLSE, didn't you? Didn't you do Raptor stuff?
Yes, I worked for MLSE from 2017 to about 2021. Yeah.
Oh, good era.
Yeah. I entered
really good era.
My first season was I worked for them, Toronto FC winning their championship, and then I got to live through the 2019 run.
That's wild. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, hello, like you have all these ideas for their marketing, right. but then you left. So
I mean, like, it is a phrase. Like, what other phrase are you going to come up with? I think it's a fair phrase to have because you want to like establish IQ and Scotty as like your mainstays. But yeah, future starts now.
I love it. One more, actually two more, going back to the past a bit. So Paul George on his podcast talked about how him and Kawhi were talking about coming to Toronto.
Yes.
And how that wasn't really a thing, but it made the rounds again in the news. Like I remember this.
I remember happening. It, yeah.
But Brian Windhorst was like, I don't remember this. This was never really reported. And people were like, yeah, it was actually. It was like really weird.
No, but like, it's crazy because like we all kind of knew the deal already.
Yeah. Like, but they were basically using the Raptors as leverage, and then Masai was put off by the whole thing, and he wasn't going to trade Siakam and Fred for Paul George and
Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook was in that deal too.
I remember these are all alleged, but I'm pretty sure Westbrook was in the mix.
Interesting. Yeah. And that they just like, you know, Masai just like wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't remember the exact details, but you know, he mentions this 5 years later as he leaves the Clippers, end of an era. If you can call that an era. I guess you can. Yeah. You could call it a Clippers era.
It is very definitively a Clippers era.
And, you know, I mean, it was just interesting to hear him talk about, you know, the degree of how much that was an actual possibility, and that he was, what I found interesting was that Paul George was just going to go along with whatever Kawhi wanted. That's the impression that I got. He didn't say that explicitly, but he was like, we could have gone to this city, we could have gone to this city, and it's like, did he not have a say in any of this? He was just like, I'll go wherever you go, Kawhi.
In 2019, no, he wouldn't have a say. Like, I think that's fair to say. Like, in 2019, like Kawhi Leonard, or 2019, sorry, Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the world.
Yes.
And is commanding like where he wants to go. Basically he did his own gamble and coming to the Raptors and then proving his like value that way. Like, because of all this, like the Clippers are locked into Kawhi Leonard right now. Like that's where we're at to this day. But no, I think to that end, I mean, even I think when they joined there, like they knew at the Clippers or anywhere else, it was Kawhi's team first, and like Paul George's, the Robin to his Batman, if you want to say that. Like he was definitely
it's very beta. That's what
it's very beta. Which honestly,
very beta.
You
respect it. You respect everything.
I totally respect it.
You respect everything, Jerome.
Yeah. Why can't someone like be a beta? Like if they choose to, like, yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
There's actually nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I like it's what do you want for dinner? I'm easy.
That's true. I'm like that too. Am I a beta? No.
We might all be betas. Actually, like in a dinner
I am with food. I'm
like,
whatever. If I'm being fed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love carbs. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought
that was weird that like it became such a big deal, because I remember like it started getting framed like, oh my God, the Raptors missed out on an opportunity here. Like they could have had PG and Kawhi, and we should have pulled the trigger. And I was just like, no, we made peace with it in 2019, or by that time. Yeah, no, 2019 summer. Yeah. Like we're almost at the anniversary of it, basically, because it's Summer League. It like the decision was made during an earthquake at Summer League. We all found out, I think, in the middle of the night here. I remember I was at
Nick Nurse was at a Prince tribute concert in Vegas.
That's right. It was, yeah. I was at Parts and Labor, like over in Parkdale, and like I remember, like what's it called now? Sorry Not Sorry, I think. But yeah, I remember getting the news. My friend being so dejected. I mean, don't mix alcohol and your player getting traded away from your team. That's brutal.
Yeah, then, they like, shouldn't do that to us at midnight. They shouldn't do that to us at midnight.
Yeah, it was like maybe past midnight. I want to say it was like 1 or almost 2 in the morning. But I remember I was wearing a Kawhi Leonard t-shirt. I know that. I have like video footage of it.
No.
Yeah. But then like what's crazy is like at that point I'm not even hearing the music in the spot. Because shortly thereafter, the Paul George news drops. And I'm like at the bar, like maybe ordering like a Jameson and ginger and being like, and Paul George too. And they don't care. They just like, it's $10 for the drink. Like that's all that's what happened.
Jameson and ginger, like ginger ale?
Yeah.
That's your drink?
It's one of them. Yeah. Back 2019, it definitely was. Yeah.
2019, Jerome.
Yeah.
Jameson and ginger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't recall where I was, to be honest. I could have been out. I could have been home. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe I just blocked it out of my mind.
Yeah. But like, I mean, would you do all this? Like, obviously we did not have the most prosperous run, but if you had to choose in 2024, whether you wanted to be the Los Angeles Clippers or the Toronto Raptors, I understand both are not really great situations, but it feels at least like we have a glimmer of hope that, we have young players that are figuring it out, as opposed to old vets who are very quickly breaking down.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, I agree. Also, too, like, I'm curious to know if other fans feel this way. But for me, the run it back season might have been the most fun I've ever had as a fan.
Yeah, in retrospect, it felt so much like this is the perfect end to the chapter of like the WeTheNorth era.
It was this combination of both being a reigning champion and an underdog. at the same time, which is like pretty rare.
Yeah.
And I just loved that team so much. Like that Slam magazine cover. Like
incredible.
Love that team so much. I do think if Kawhi stayed, we would have repeated. I will say that till I'm old and gray in an old folks home.
Like, and like also like only if Kawhi stayed, not if you take that core of players and like replace them with other parts that like we weren't sure we're gonna actually like piece together.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I mean, there's a lot of like what ifs, in regards to the pandemic and stuff like that. But I just feel like if there was a world where like that season just kept going and the world didn't stop, I think we would have had a better playoff run.
We went like we were a game 7 away from the conference finals.
Yeah, like we were, you know what I mean? And like that.
I kind of think that
Celtics series was a bit of a slog. Like it was like, but I just feel like, that it was just hard to lose that much momentum and then try to, rev it up again. And plus everything that was going on in the world and being separated from all your loved ones. And,
right.
Like if that season could have just kept going, even with that team without Kawhi. I know this is like such a hypothetical.
Well, I was going to say one thing that actually helps your case in that one is the big what if out of all that. I think of all the things because of how long it took him to come back to be at a superstar level is the effect it had on Pascal.
Yes, this is exactly where I'm going with.
That's like that one part, because if you take a team that is mere seconds away from getting out of a game 7 and into the conference finals, which would arguably be easier than that Celtics team, which in our we would feel then would take us to the finals, and then and then like maybe the championship is like a good Pascal Siakam could shift some of that.
Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying.
And a half healthy Kawhi Leonard would probably put it over the top.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I loved that team so much. I mean, we were on like a 14 to 16 game winning streak at one point that season also.
Vibes
like a really long winning streak. Like that team was
almost
just
as
so
long
good
as
and so fun.
Serge Ibaka's scarf.
Ooh, that was the scarf season.
It was.
See, so many fun things happened that year. That
was also the Mavericks comeback game.
Oh my god.
There was the era of Kyle and Bench.
Yeah, just so like that. I think that is my favorite season as a Raptors fan, probably ever. I mean, I've had fun years. Obviously, I'm here.
Of course.
But,
yeah.
I mean, it was just so,
Yeah, people forget that as obviously 2019 has the best ending, but like it was such a slog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, it's like no regrets. You know what I mean? Like,
not at all.
Like, I don't feel like the Raptors should have, sacrificed everything to have that core here or anything like that. Like, it is what it is. And you know what?
Ultimately, we also have to look at that in the context of, like, this isn't Paul George being interviewed and like sharing details upon his exit. Like, he's creating content for his show. So like, if anything, I was just like, no, I respect the savvy of creating something buzzworthy that kind of detracts away from the real story of the Clippers falling apart. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our Hottie highlight of the week. And this is, former Raptors edition, because we've got some good ones this week. And there's a total of 3 this week to choose from.
When you sent it, I was very excited about it.
I could not narrow this down to 2 based on the week that we've had. So the first one is Pascal Siakam accidentally saying Raptors instead of Pacers at his press conference.
Yep.
Major Freudian slip.
Yep.
Love to see it. Number 2 is DeMar DeRozan being in the Not Like Us video and inserting himself into the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. He said,
I'm going to push back on that part, but we can talk about it.
Okay. He said in an interview that he is friends with Drake, or that he likes Drake, but him and Kendrick go way, way back. Basically, like, I'm friends with both these guys, but blah, 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 blah. Anyways, he's become a part of it, I feel. You can push back because, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then number 3 is Vince Carter being on the cover of NBA 2K Legends.
Yeah.
Huge week.
That's a great week.
For Hottie highlights.
All right. So the short answer is I got DeMar as my Hottie.
Okay.
But I'll break down the other 2. So first one, Vince Carter, NBA Legends. That's great. Very hot to get yourself an NBA cover. Another thing to add to your big Hall of Fame / going to be retired by not just the Raptors, but also the New Jersey / Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, let's note that he's on the cover as a Raptor.
Yes, of course. With the gold, like that gold touch was pretty cool, like in it. So very hot, like hot cover. Nothing says you're hot than like getting a cover, right?
Yes.
And so, but again, like very basic, and in terms of, so like does not get like Hottie of the Week compared, because also like you framed it as the theme is X's, and so like I
just wrote former Raptors edition,
but I'm going with X's. This is
okay. All right.
Yeah. Because they are like they're like all
they
of
are
them,
X's. They
all
are
of
all
them
X's.
are X's, and they all have kind of messy breakups.
Yeah, we've had many a lover.
And so like the thing is, like in the X's theme, like Vince Carter doesn't get it because we already are at peace with him. So like even like with this cover, if we were on bad terms with Vince and then he came back with a cover with him wearing our jersey, that's pretty hot because that's like a glow up and like letting us know he's thriving without us. But we're at peace and that's not hot. So
yeah.
Pascal, it's not hot to say your ex's name
by accident.
Yeah, it just isn't.
No.
Also, get a haircut. That's not hot.
Okay.
Get a good fade. That's more of a shout out to Will, who has been complaining about just like, please, Pascal, get a haircut. So
yeah, he's not a fashion icon.
He's not a fashion icon. I mean, shout out the glasses and the suit. Like I see you're trying on that front.
It's not his journey.
But I think again in an X's theme, like how not hot is it to like say like your ex's name while with your new boo?
Yeah, I wonder how the Pacers fans feel about that.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I take the Rachel,
Very that, yeah.
So not hot. But DeMar, that is the hottest thing ever. Like you completely take out not just, I mean, the way the Raptors fans have taken it, not just the Raptors, but Drake siding with Kendrick, like having, not like big part of the biggest concert of the year. In maybe the biggest like music
dancing
video
on stage with him.
Yeah, he was chilling on stage with Russ too.
Westbrook, yeah.
And then getting like a spot in the video and like looking great, and then you got yourself out of Chicago, like add that on top, even though this isn't a part of this. So I think like that makes you the hottie, especially in an X. Like he got to win the breakup in that moment. So
okay, I accept your answer.
Yeah. And then my one pushback about DeMar, he's from LA. He's born.
I know
in LA.
He's from LA. I know he's
Compton.
From there.
Like that. And like especially I think in the context of content and like he even when he was with the Raptors, he would always have that shirt that said Comp 10. Like his ties to LA are always gonna be first and foremost, I think.
Yeah, but you know what? Like Westbrook isn't in the video.
But he also isn't referenced in a lyric.
And he is a fashion icon. Actually, he's actually a fashion icon.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's a lyric that actually says, like, it's good that DeRozan is back. Like, you didn't deserve him. So he, like, contextually makes sense to show up in the video.
Okay.
So
I accept. Look, I accept all of this, but doesn't that mean he is a part of this beef? Because that's what I said. He is a part of this beef.
No, he's just like a bystander. Really,
he's a bystander. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think he's a bystander. I think he's an active participant.
It is like the loosest form of like it's really the like if you get a fight in a group and like you're just like sheepishly in the background, just being like, yeah, Like that's it. Like I don't think unless he's like actively taking shots at
I consider
Drake,
this maybe a passive participant. How about that?
I'll take passive. Yeah.
Okay.
He's there.
He's there. This is my he's a passive participant.
I mean, my one question to like Raptors fans who feel really bad about this and how dare you turn your back on Toronto and all this kind of stuff is why don't you go find the GOAT like Kyle Lowry and ask him if it had to be a choice between Philadelphia and Toronto, which way would he go?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is a part of Raptors fandom that feel that way. I don't feel that way.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like I just and again, like, you know, Twitter can feel so loud when it also could be just like a couple of people. Like I think I saw enough people mention that like, oh, DeMar's gonna get booed or DeMar's gonna, you know, do like it's gonna be hard for DeMar to show up in Toronto, and I'm just like,
no, that's crazy.
Like, that's crazy, right? Also, again,
that would be disappointing. I would
like in the grand
that.
scheme of things, like DeMar never left us.
No,
he got traded away. Out of like the three, again, in like our ex's theme, like he's the one who got like screwed over the most.
Yes,
you know, Pascal, whatever way you want to like drive that or like look at that, like Pascal still actively chose to go like he wanted to get traded elsewhere, or like he just couldn't come to like a decision with the team.
Right.
And then like Vince, I mean, that one's like a really messy breakup.
Yeah, there's a whole documentary. There's multiple documentaries about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but yeah, all in all, DeMar by far the hottest X.
All right, I love it. I love it. I didn't know which way this was gonna go, but
who did you have?
Oh, I don't know. I don't pick.
I know you don't, but like, I mean, because you at least like.
I mean, I had a childhood crush on Vince.
That's fair.
So I mean, I feel like Vince he pulls my heartdings in a different way.
The most beautiful of the three.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so yeah, like I don't who did you have a celebrity crush as a kid?
Yeah, I'm not like 90s Mariah Carey.
Oh yeah, see. Yeah. So she probably pulls your heartstrings differently.
Yeah, no,
maybe a little bit. It's confusing. Every Christmas, it gets a little confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime I hear "Honey," but specifically the Bad Boy remix, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My God, yeah. That was amazing. Okay, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Jerome. Thank you for joining me. Have fun at Summer League and let us know about the show and where people can find you on the internets.
Yeah. So as you mentioned at the top, I've been working for now the last 6 or 7 weeks with Will Liu and Alex Swan on the Hello and Welcome podcast. For those, I'm assuming there's a good intersection of people who are listening to this that know the guys. Yeah. But if you aren't following, find us at Hello Welcome Pod, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We got to do like a lot of fun stuff already. Got to talk to a lot of people. We had like an interview with like Andrew Nemhard, which was really great. We got to talk to Shireen Ahmed about WNBA Toronto, which was awesome. And then talk to like a number of different like reporters and former execs when it came to things like draft, free agency, all that stuff. And we're going to try to do more of that kind of stuff when we go to Summer League that I leave for in 7 hours.
Amazing.
But yeah, we're going to be out there. We'll try to do as much content as possible, try to grab as many people as possible to talk to, and try to have some fun too.
Please let me know if you see any, Asia Wilson, Bam Adebayo sighting.
Oh yeah. Oh
There's rumors there are a couple, which would be like such a dream come true for me.
That's a power couple. And I love especially in a like basketball dynamic, like she is so much like the more accomplished and celebrated.
Yeah.
Like by far. You know what I mean? Which is like awesome.
She's the best
I actually
female player in the world. Yeah.
Yes. I'm very much going to be trying to, since I'm there long enough, to see Ace of Sky. So
oh my God, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
I hope you get to make it to that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening and for tuning in. Subscribe to this, blah, blah, blah. Gonna get better at saying that. And I'm supposed to say it off the top, apparently, not at the end. So,
Oh yeah, no, Will goes through like a whole list of things that I'm just like, I know, subscribe to the thing, but like we're supposed to do it at the top. Yeah.
But all right, I'll work it into my intro at some point. But thank you everyone, much appreciated, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.